Welcome to John Mike Keene as we watch the dawn of America being liberated from the Biden-Harris regime.
And behind the seal of the President of the United States.
Polls are looking good for Trump. I'm going to give you some of those real quick. This is the national Trump versus Harris poll on Real Clear Politics. This is the first time in Trump's history that he is winning the most popular candidate. This just happened overnight. His numbers ticked up by 0.1. All of the momentum is going to him. We're going to unpack all this for you. Remember, no BS, no fluff, no rah-rah Trump, although I am all those things, but I'm saying that's not where my evidence comes from. Zoom in on this trajectory line if you can see all the way from when Biden withdraws on the left. You can see Trump just today crossed Harris by 0.1%. But look at Trump's red line going up and look at Harris's blue line going down. In short, her Trump is a Hitler campaign did not work.
New York Times dropped their last poll. It's significant, not just because it's the New York Times as a brand, but it's considered a pretty good poll. And the direction is clear. 103, please. For those of you who haven't seen it, previously, Kamala Harris was up in this poll. Now it's a tie. Okay? 48-48 national poll. The conventional wisdom has been, even though it may be false, that if Donald Trump is tied or within a couple points in the national poll, he's going to win.
So that's a nonpartisan Halperin doing his podcast on saying Trump is going to win. This is going to blow up because that poll is so significant, and it has to do with the LA Times and the Washington Post. Let's watch MSNBC meltdown.
And then when it comes to the LA Times, that owner is besties with Elon Musk. And they had a Twitter exchange, actually, where Elon Musk was like, good job, so-and-so. And he was like, thanks, Elon. And I'm like, okay, well. And they both South African, so y'all do with that what you will.
They're both South African, so she goes straight to race. I don't like that. You know, that sounds a lot like Hitler, obsessed with people's racial genetics. MSNBC, here's ALX on Twitter. Keith Olbermann calls for Washington Post publisher and CEO Will Lewis to be deported because his paper refused to endorse Kamala Harris. Here's a picture of an editor, which Keith Olbermann says, this is the kind of immigrant we need to be deporting. What nice people these are. Boy, that changed quickly. Now, here's a close-up of that Real Clear Politics average. I want you to look at that. There's the 0.1 lead for Trump. The top three, it's New York Times that changed its number and put him in a tie. That changed everything. And there's the Wall Street Journal now with Trump up +3. A weird outlier down at the bottom is Rasmussen, which usually is very pro-Trump. He has Harris up by +1, which shows, I think, some honesty in their numbers at least. Don't be afraid, though, like MSNBC.
Same with the LA Times. If you can't take that heat, then get out of that business because it's not a business for you. You cannot bring that mindset. You don't have a journalistic mindset. You don't understand what the First Amendment means to the men and women who actually do that job every day. There's a reason why your newsroom right now is pissed off at you, dumb behind, because you're buckled.
He's working up quite a lather. Wow, he's an ex-Republican. And now he's flipping out over the LA Times not endorsing Kamala Harris and impugning their character. And they have all these conspiracies on why they think it's being done out of fear. Maybe it's being done out of respect for Trump. I don't know.
You put it on your masthead and then you took it down because you're afraid of Donald Trump? I don't get what the hell everybody's afraid of this guy for. I mean, there are more of us willing to stand in the light so it doesn't go dark, and you're turning out the lights on your own newspaper. Go ahead. See what happens. Because he's still going to come after you if he wins.
Wow.
That's projection, sir. No one said they were afraid of Donald Trump was the reason. Now, in their mind, they're constructing their conspiracies because they can never give the enemy a reasonable intent or intention. They go after their intention as somehow immoral, evil, cowardly, fearful, name it.
You know what it is? I want to be a whale psychiatrist.
I want to know what changed for Jeff Bezos, because in 2016 he was asked, the paper asked, should we endorse, and he was like, well, why wouldn't we? And so I do think that it is this fear of retribution thing. And again, if Jeff Bezos is concerned about retribution, then I like, what is going on, people?
Dumb take.
This act of cowardice to me is just reprehensible, because all the bravado and all the BS that you put out there, you know, democracy dies in darkness. Well, baby, you just turned out the lights, Bezos. You just turned out the lights for the Washington Post.
This is his reference to democracy dies in darkness. The democracy of the Republican point of view has died in darkness for 20 years of journalism, friend.
Because you were so afraid that, you know, oh my God, Donald Trump is going to drag us. Donald Trump is going to come after my business.
It drives the whales frickin' crazy. And
Yes.
something happens with them.
Here's the deal. If you can't handle it, sell the paper. Because why did you own it in the first place if this is what you're going to do with it?
Sell it to Elon Musk. That's my suggestion. If you want to turn it around and make it a winning business. By the way, here's John Fetterman on the Election Wizard Twitter. Breaking: Senator John Fetterman, Democrat, Pennsylvania, calls the intensity of support for Trump in Pennsylvania, quote unquote, astonishing.
Two reactions I want to show you to that poll. First, Ron Branstein, 102. He's pretty pro-Harris, but he's a great political analyst. He says that this shows Kamala Harris, the New York Times poll, she's matching Joe Biden with white voters, but she's doing less well with people of color, particularly Latino voters. And that's back to, remember when Harris replaced Biden, and after we saw some initial data, there was a thought, maybe Harris is stronger. This poll and other data suggest no.
They brought in Kamala Harris to shore up those minorities because our first brave Black woman candidate, and the minorities are turning against her. Why is it that Black men find no ground with her, no tie to her minority status? Why is it that Latinos are turning against her? They're completely unimpressed with her because, lo and behold, they act just like normal people. Imagine that. Minorities, Democrats are just, they're falling apart on this. They can't believe.
Important to understand the context here. He's looking at all the polls, not just one poll. Snapshots, underlying changes. Times, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, private polling show movement for Trump. It's real movement, and it's real movement at the end, which suggests as voters are deciding, it's meaningful. But again, it's still close, and she can win.
These are Democrat sources that I'm mentioning here at the end to show you that they're admitting that Trump is ascending. Trump is a big threat. When they say it, you got to realize that they're not on board the Kamala train. They're warning you. Trump is going to win. I'm John Mike Keane.
What is happening with the whales? I've read about this.